I've got these old crusty Volkswagen wheels. I want to see if I could breathe some life back into them. So we're going to try a couple of different rust converters. We're going to use the Krud Kutter RUSTEX that I've always used. And since I love Rust-Oleum so much, we're going to go ahead and give the Rust-Oleum rust converter a try. So if there's something you're interested in, let's get started. Okay, check it out. These rims are really, really crusty. I just dug them out of the bushes. I've had front beams and transaxles stored on them. They just came with a couple of projects, so I'm just gonna clean them off a little bit and see if it is possible to bring these back to life. All right, I'm jumping ahead because I know most of you won't wait till the end to see the results, but it's been about a half hour longer, and you can see that the RUSTEX is completely neutralized. It's all turning white. And the Rust-Oleum rust converter did an awesome job. And this one's next. So we'll stay to the end. These are the two products that I'm going to be testing today. Since I use Rust-Oleum paint, it's one of my favorite paints. I might as well try their rust dissolver. Now the Krud Kutter RUSTEX is what I've always used. And both of these you'll be able to find a link at the bottom for my Amazon store, since I am kind of an Amazon affiliate guy. Make it easy for you to find it. This RUSTEX, I think they're discontinuing it because it's getting harder and harder to get. This I'm going to put in the RUSTEX. I'm going to put into a squirt bottle to make it easier. This comes out as a gel. This says apply to the wet surface and not let it sit for more than 10 minutes. I did that the other day in a little spot and it worked pretty good. This is foolproof. I mean, I could put it on dry, I could put it on wet, I could hose it off, I could dilute it. It works really well. So we're going to go ahead and spray both of the wheels. One wheel has clips on it, which we're going to use the RUSTEX on, and the other one does not have hubcap clips on it, so we're going to use the rust dissolver on it. And then we're going to give them about 15-20 minutes, and then give them a little spray, and then see what happens. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is just knock all the crud off of this with my wire wheel, and see what happens. Okay, the wheels already starting to look a lot better, but I mean, there's a lot of pitting and stuff going on. But mainly, I just want to get some white paint on these and make them look a little bit better. So next thing I'm going to do is hose them down. You can see I wasn't able to get into the cracks here. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these down and try and get all the rust particles out of that crack. And then we'll move on to the rust inhibitor. All right, the back of the wheels are just as crusty, but I'm not going to do anything about that because you're not going to see them. All right, the rust dissolver, which is a gel, you can see it comes out really thick. So I've laid a generous amount on, and then I've got a moistened brush, and I'm just going to kind of even it out so I get good coverage without making too much of a mess. You can see it's already going to work, getting off all that rust colored stuff. And eventually this will turn all white and it'll be a ready to go painted surface. Okay, so this one's good, and I think it's well dabbed in there. A lot in the crack where the rust is really deep. Okay, the RUSTEX I went and put into my rust stuff bottle, and I'm gonna just spray this everywhere. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll blend it all together with a brush to make sure we got excellent coverage. And the idea is, like I said, you want it to turn white, and then you can hose it off and it's going to be a paintable finish. All right, let me go rinse my brush so I can clean this up. And then, like I said, I'm just going to blend it all together with my brush so I get enough coverage and use the stuff that's puddling up on the high side. So look at this one already. All right, now we're just gonna let them sit for just a little while and then hose them off. After you hose them off, it will continue to work. Even by tomorrow, it's gonna be crazy. Okay, it's only been a few minutes. You can see this wheel. This wheel is also painted white at one point before the black, but it is knocking all that rust down. This other stuff seems to work a little bit slower, but it is a very good product. You can see, look at this pitting going on there. So these aren't going to be for a show car, they're just going to be for rollers. But this is what it started out looking like. To give you a little reminder. This one is a little bit worse, but not too bad. Like I said, these will never be on a show car. They'll get used tires and become rollers. All right, well, let's continue to work. Okay, and also too, it might not be the best place to do this, back behind my fountain and trees and stuff, but trust me, you don't want to get this RUSTEX on your concrete, because your concrete will be white, stained white for a couple of years. It takes that long. Okay, on the rust dissolver, Rust-Oleum rust dissolver, it says not to let it dry out. So I do have a little bit of a water bottle here that I could just mist it. Same thing with this one. It's water soluble, but it does like activation with water. So I'm just going to keep these moist just for a little while. So about 10 minutes has passed, and I did get in the brush, get my little paintbrush out and kind of foam this up and just spread it around a little bit more after I gave it a little spritz of water. Same thing with the RUSTEX. You can see we're starting to get a little bit of white showing through. And I think it becomes a zinc oxide or something. I'll have to read that label, tell you exactly what they say it turns into. The label says that right now this is an iron oxide is what causes the rust. Okay, and with the RUSTEX neutralizer, what it does, it turns into a iron phosphate, I think they said, which rinses right off. Kind of cool. All right, we're gonna keep watching these. Right, a few more minutes have passed. Not much of a change on this one, but like I said, it was painted white, so it's really hard to tell. And then you come over to this one and you can see where that iron phosphate is starting to convert. So I'm going to mist it a little bit more with some water and keep an eye on it. Okay, it's been about a half of an hour now. I'm going to go ahead and hose these off and take a look at them. The RUSTEX is going to keep working even though after I rinse it off. And when we come back to this later this afternoon, it's probably going to be a lot more white on it. They are looking a lot better. Like I said, the RUSTEX is going to continue to work. Check that out. I did get my little scratch awl and get inside the crack and knock as much of it out as I can. But you can still see I should have done that to start with, which I will do on this next wheel. And I could have spent a little bit more time on the wire wheel, and I'm sure I did more on this one because it didn't have the clips and it was easy to get into. And like I said, I could have spent a little bit more time. I may go ahead and just hit that again with my wire brush and give it another squirt. Move my 3 wheels back out to the sun where everything started. So we take a closer look. The RUSTEX, like I said, is still neutralizing. You can see how it's starting to turn white. And within a half hour or so, I bet you this is going to be all white. As far as the Rust-Oleum, that I'm really impressed with. This is the first time I'm really using it. And you can see some of the areas where I wasn't able to hit it with a brush, didn't really knock the rust down. I'm not so much worried about that. And inside the crack, the same thing, because I didn't prep it first. And then I think some light sanding, we can get all this paint off and get a nice finish on it. This one, we just gotta wait for it to finish converting. And we can get some primer on that one. And then we will go back to where it all started with number 3. These were just going to go to the scrap heap, but I knew that I could bring some life back into them. All right, that's it for now. As you can see, these rims, a little bit of primer, maybe some white paint, we're gonna be good to go. All right, that's it. RUSTEX was my favorite. Give it a big thumbs up. And also Rust-Oleum now is my new favorite and easier to get. All right, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can check the links below